adrift, idiot.
Maybe you can go live with the Danish. You'll regret this day, friend. I'm not your friend, buddy. I'm not your buddy, guy.
He's not your guy, friend.
I'm not your friend, buddy.
We're not your buddies, guy.
I'm not your guy, friend.
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering. I hope you're having a wonderful, I don't even know what day it is, Thursday, I think. Sorry I was out yesterday, but man alive, I got hit with probably the worst flu I've ever had. Like, it was just insane. I felt kind of sick on Tuesday, so I went to bed early, and then Wednesday I just woke up and it was coming out of both ends. We'll just put it that way. But I'm back today. I'm feeling much, much better. Probably because everything's left my body and my soul. But I appreciate all your support. We got to talk about Jordan Peterson striking back here. It's been a big story, the re-education of Jordan Peterson. And I found a little bit of data that makes it look a little bit more nefarious than previously thought. By the way, I've got to bring up Coffee Brand Coffee. I've got a bunch of our Christmas flavors that are leaving the shelves soon on deep discount. Big discount on Santa's Helper, white chocolate cranberry, eggnog, pumpkin spice, spiked jack-o'-lantern. One of those already sold out. If you're thinking about getting some of the Christmas flavors or trying them, definitely consider picking them up today. I've got to make up for taking a day off. Otherwise, promo code The Quartering, and you could save on any one of our coffees. We have over a dozen organic loose leaf teas that are absolutely delicious. I was drinking some chamomile tea last night, some chai tea this morning, and of course our delicious hot cocos. Support the channel and get some delicious fluids. Now, Jordan Peterson striking back with a fury. I'm hearing from lawyers, doctors, teachers, and other psychologists about Jordan Peterson's decision to fight back against the politicized professional regulator. Interesting times ahead. Hear from Peterson on why he's fighting back. This is an article in the Toronto Sun. Now, I thought it was pretty interesting. I want to point out, I don't know how the timing of when their actual investigation started lines up with this, but I do find it pretty curious that on December 2nd of 2022, about a month before this now, the College of Psychologists of Ontario happened to put out a public call for complaints. They wrote, "Our complaints process allows a member of the public to submit a complaint about a member's behavior, conduct, or practice to be investigated by the college's Inquiries, Complaints, Reports Committee. If you would like to learn more, visit here." It's almost like they were soliciting these complaints. I mean, they should have just put Jordan Peterson's picture on this. It seems like that would have been a more on, I suppose it's a little on the nose for them, but it sure seems like they were, openly soliciting that. And if you look, this post went relatively unnoticed. It has 1 like or 2 likes on it, 7 quote tweets, and lots of comments. Basically, people saying, anybody from the public can complain. A College of Psychologists of Ontario will institute a struggle session. Just ask Jordan Peterson. Thanks, CP Ontario. Perhaps it isn't Jordan Peterson who's in need of a re-education. Oh, good, an official complaint process for the College of Psychologists of Ontario. This is exactly how I believe it. Got any complaints about Dr. Jordan Peterson? Share them here. Right? It sure seems coordinated, doesn't it? You see here, he's decided to finally push back against the College of Psychologists of Ontario after a demand that he submit to a social media re-education or lose his license. Peterson has filed an application for judicial review with the Ontario Divisional Court, and he's now speaking openly about the barrage of politically motivated complaints. On Tuesday, Peterson took to Twitter, the social media platform that could be called the scene of his many crimes, to say enough is enough. I practiced for 20 years without being investigated. This only started when I became a prominent public figure, Peterson said in a phone interview Wednesday morning. He said that ever since he rose to public prominence in 2016, he's been facing nonstop complaints He's had to hire lawyers to handle the complaints with the college. All I want to tell people is what is happening. We saw this with fellow YouTuber Nick Rekieta, where a bunch of mentally disturbed people were filing bar complaints against him. They didn't live in his state. They didn't actually, when they weren't clients of his, they were, they weren't, in his jurisdiction, but they didn't like words he said on the internet, so they tried to ruin his career. In January 2022, Peterson was tweeting that the world could handle a larger population if handled right, something that goes against the mantra claimed by some of overpopulated and harming the planet. Roger Palfrey, a man who describes himself as a scientist and educator, said he disagreed and claimed that the world is already overpopulated and wrote, "You're free to leave at any point," Peterson tweeted. So, the American behind the complaint said that Peterson was advocating for self-deletion, a leap in logic if there ever was one. Oh, it's an American who doesn't go to his school and doesn't receive his medical advice. Another complaint was filed against Peterson in February 2022 when he questioned the wisdom of Ottawa's interim police chief, Steve Bell, saying that he was looking at how to remove children from Freedom Convoy protest site of Ottawa. Peterson tweeted a video of the statement and said, "Children removed? How exactly? Why exactly? By whom exactly? Sent to where and for how long? Think this through, Canadians. This is a bad decision." The complaint is that Peterson, a psychologist, must report children at risk. Whatever your political view of the convoy, there was not at that time any evidence of kids being at risk. Again, so you could see this was he shared his opinion on a kind of a political hot button issue, and people tried to get him to lose his job over it. It's like now that because these complaints have to be public, you have to be able to see what the complaints are. Now you see just how spurious and how ridiculous these really are. May 2022, a complaint was filed after Peterson retweeted a New York Post article about Yumi Nu being unveiled as the cover model for Sports Illustrated swimsuit. Nu, a plus-size model, overweight, was featured in a revealing swimsuit, but Peterson didn't find it appealing. "Sorry, not beautiful. No amount of authoritarian tolerance is going to change that," Peterson tweeted. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. While many will agree with Peterson and many will disagree, his statement on Twitter about a swimsuit model is hardly an issue for the College of Psychologists of Ontario. 100% agree. Oh, she's not like that overweight. Okay. Anyway, I think it was more speaking to the whole like being overweight is healthy thing that, mainstream media is pushing forever. The college now has, so the complaints are, all three are completely ridiculous. All right. And all three complaints seem, okay. So, political hot button issue, an obese swimsuit model, the convoy, and then one that was like a spicy clapback. But none of it has to do with his ability to practice psychology. The college, of course, has declined to comment on the issue and cited privacy when asked a series of questions. Their letter to Peterson, though, informed him that if he did undergo the remedial social media training they require, that would be made public, a sort of stain on his public record. The panel has yet to make a decision, but maintains its serious concerns about your professionalism in public statements, the letter from the college states. It then goes on to detail their wish for Peterson to undergo training through either two of their preferred experts in social media behavior and professionalism, while the other states that Peterson would not have to admit any wrongdoing. The college would then provide a statement for him to sign in which he would admit to unprofessional conduct. This is just insane. Like this is actually insane. I mean, it's like, oh, well, you don't have to admit it, but just sign this so we can hold it over your head forever. Quote, that I may have lacked professionalism in public statements made on social media during January 25th podcast appearance, the statement reads. The podcast mentioned was an appearance by Peterson on the Joe Rogan's top-rated podcast. They have 5 levels of sanction that they've already put the second highest level of sanctions upon me. They see me as likely to reoffend, Peterson said. He said that the politicization of the college regulating professions in Ontario and across Canada puts the care and legal advice we all receive at risk because professionals will be afraid to give their best advice. Oh yeah, I mean, definitely. Sometimes what's the best advice may not be the easiest to say or might not even be politically correct, but it might be still, that doesn't mean, it may be unpopular, but it still may be the correct advice or the correct take. The idea that, that these clearly politically motivated complaints have nothing to do with his ability to do his job at all is insane. You could see here, there are more than 2,000 YouTube comments on Michaela Fuller's coverage of my sentencing decision at your hands, CP Ontario. It doesn't really appear anyone is supporting your position. Do 2,000 statements of support outweigh 12 complaints? If not, please justify. And then you see petition here, petition defend Dr. Jordan Peterson, the counter signal signed. So this comes from him being on, the wrong people's podcast. Of course, Jordan Peterson has long, and look here, the same people that Jordan Peterson was speaking to, this may be an inconvenient truth. When they try to run Jordan Peterson off, that's how you got Andrew Tate. And how you get these other, there's always going to be young men who need directional support. I feel like Jordan Peterson was probably one of the best in terms of timing and delivery that young man had. It was lightning in a bottle. The establishment didn't like that, so they wanted to get rid of him because they wanted young men to be disaffected and not have purpose. He gave them that. He gave them agency. He gave them advice. And I absolutely support him in this fight. It's actually insane. Even the Wall Street Journal, even journalists are supporting of him. The College of Psychologists, the profession's governing body in Ontario, appointed an investigator in March to examine the complaints about Mr. Peterson's comments on Twitter and the popular Joe Rogan podcast. On November 22nd, the colleagues panel released a decision per images provided by Mr. Peterson. The panel ruled the comments at issue appear to undermine the public's trust in the profession as a whole and raise questions about your ability to carry out your responsibilities as a psychologist. Never mind the psychologists who are telling people it's healthy and beautiful to be 200 pounds overweight. Never mind all these ridiculous social justice opinions espoused by psychologists. It's just that it goes against the narrative. That's all they're caring about. It says professional bodies are supposed to ensure practitioners are competent, not enforce political orthodoxies or act as language police outside of the office. But that's the trend in Western medical associations and beyond. The Law Society of Ontario has pushed a mandatory diversity pledge for all lawyers until a members' revolt took over the board and nixed the pledge in 2019. At the time, an Ontario lawyer objected to the ever-expanding mission to socially engineer the profession. Sounds kind of like an id, ego, and super ego. You could probably ask a psychologist about it. I support you 100%, Jordan Peterson, in this fight, and I'm sure my viewers do too. Make sure you leave a like on this video, and if you haven't yet, you subscribe so I can keep you up to date on this developing story, and we'll talk to you again real soon.